Welcome back to my channel, Coin and Myth History. Today is Best Top 2 Coins 1. You wanna miss we're diving into the world of coins, please don't skip. This video last coin is excited, so let's get it started. The coin you have shown is a British halfpenny, Wand, from 1945. An important piece of pre-decimal currency that carries not only monetary history but also cultural and wartime significance. The British monetary system prior to 1971 operated under the old pounds, shillings and pence structure, in which there were 240 pence in 1 pound. The halfpenny was valued at half of a penny, and thus 480 halfpennies were equal to 1 pound sterling. By the mid-20th century, this small denomination coin was still in everyday use, although inflation was gradually reducing its purchasing power. The 1945 issue is particularly interesting because it was struck during the final year of World War II, at a time when Britain's economy, military, and society were heavily engaged in the war effort. Even in such difficult times, the Royal Mint continued to produce circulating coinage, ensuring that ordinary life and commerce could function amid the turmoil of global conflict. The reverse design of the coin, shown in your photograph, was created by the talented coin designer Thomas Humphrey Paget, whose initials HP can be seen to the right of the ship. The reverse depicts the Golden Hind, the famous galleon of Sir Francis Drake, who was one of England's most celebrated explorers and naval commanders during the reign of Queen Elizabeth. Drake became a national hero when he completed the circumnavigation of the globe between 1577 and 1580 aboard this very ship, and the Golden Hind later symbolized England's naval prowess, daring voyages, and expansion into global trade and exploration. On the coin, the ship is depicted in full sail, with detailed rigging, multiple masts and flags waving, sailing forward proudly across stylized waves. This imagery connected wartime, Britain of the 1940s with its earlier Elizabethan Golden Age, evoking resilience, exploration, and victory at sea. For many people in Britain, especially during the hardship of war, this design was a subtle but powerful reminder of national pride, perseverance, and naval dominance. The obverse front of the 1945 halfpenny, which is not shown in your image, would have featured the portrait of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 until his death in 1952. The portrait was created by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget as well, showing the king facing left without a crown, with the Latin inscription around the edge reading, Georgivasi de Gibber Omnirex, F.D. Indimp, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. The inclusion of Imp, Emperor of India, is particularly significant, as 1945 was the final year of the war and only 2 years before the independence of India. In 1947, which brought an end to Britain's centuries-long control of the subcontinent. Thus, the coin captures a moment when Britain was still officially an empire but on the brink of profound political and colonial change. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1945 halfpenny was struck in bronze, composed primarily of copper, 97%, with small amounts of zinc and tin, a composition that gave the coin durability and a reddish-brown color when new, though over time it often darkens to a brown or chocolate tone. The coin has a diameter of about 25.5 millimeters, a weight of around 5.67 grams, and a plain edge, smooth, without milling. These coins were produced in large quantities at the Royal Mint in London. The mintage for the year 1945 was substantial. Tens of millions were struck, which means that the coin is not rare in circulated condition today. However, the historical context of the year and its connection to the end of World War II gives it added appeal for collectors who focus on wartime coinage and British imperial history. From a numismatic perspective, the value of a 1945 halfpenny depends heavily on its condition. Circulated examples like the one in your image are generally common and affordable, often worth a small amount to collectors, perhaps only a few units of currency depending on the market. However, specimens in extremely fine, uncirculated, or proof condition can fetch a higher value, as collectors always prize coins with minimal wear, original luster, and sharp detail in the rigging of the Golden Hind and the king's portrait. Even so, this coin's true worth often lies less in its monetary resale value and more in its significance as a tangible piece of Britain's wartime economy, its maritime heritage, and its transition from empire to modern nation. In summary, the 1945 British half-penny stands as a small but rich symbol of history. On one side, it bears the image of King George VI, who served as a figure of unity and resilience during Britain's darkest war years. On the other, it displays the Golden Hind, a reminder of England's Elizabethan legacy of exploration, naval might, and determination to prevail against great odds. Produced in the last year of World War II, this coin connects the struggles of 20th century Britain to its seafaring past and stands as a relic of the final days of the old imperial coinage system. Though modest in value, it is deeply significant in meaning, making it a treasured piece for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Would you like me to also provide you with the estimated collector market value range, from circulated to mint state, for this 1945 halfpenny?